I mean, we look really brown.
This is the color of Jesus. I want you to know. Yeah, that's right. There's no doubts in my mind.
The real one.
You're ready. That's right. Traditional Hebrew, traditional Abrahamic color. Yes. You ready? In Judeo-Christian beliefs. Let's go. 3, 2,
2, 1. What's up, listeners? This is Ef'n, and I got Omar Rodriguez, a.k.a.
Gordito on the go / compadre.
Compadre?
Compadre.
Oh, man. So today, right, we are talking about the estate of real estate.
Oh, yeah. That's real. It's legit.
Because, like, if you want to buy a house right now, the market's crazy, right?
I mean, is it crazy or is it incredible?
I mean, I don't know if the market's crazy or not. That's why we brought in our special guest, Esteban. How you doing, Esteban?
Doing all right. How's it going? Good to meet you, compadre.
Good to be met, sir. Effective real estate, sir.
That's right.
I like that. Esteban Flores in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Broker extraordinaire, Ef'n.
And Esteban, what do you do in real estate exactly?
In real estate, I do a lot of things. So I'm a broker and an owner of Effective Real Estate. We got about 17 or 18 agents under us. We got an office in McAllen, Brownsville, agents on South Padre Island and San Antonio. We're opening up a new office in Houston pretty soon. I sit on the board of realtors. I'm one of the directors for the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors, and I'm the chairman for the Commercial Alliance Committee. But one of the coolest things that I do, or in my opinion, is I have a certification called the CCIM, which is like the highest designation that you can get in commercial real estate. And there's probably less than 10 of us down here in the valley that have it. So that's kind of my niche, like the commercial real estate field.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I got to imagine with Senor Musk in the area, there's been some questions from different investors and groups, and I'm sure you're one of those guys on the short list of people that they call, man. So what do you see, man?
So funny you mentioned that. Our brokerage actually sold some land to SpaceX. Last year. That's
out of this world.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So basically, like in layman's terms, you basically help people sell property, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And why is property like so high right now? Like, what's going on?
Supply and demand.
Really? Yeah, for sure, man. I've heard that this market is like number 1, number 2 of like interest in the country. For like expansion, growth, development, commercial expansion.
Yeah, so it's crazy, right? Like it's crazy ever since the pandemic happened, and then there's like low inventory and a lot of demand, a lot of buyers coming into the area, a lot of millennials like I want to own a home, I want to own property, I want to invest in real estate.
For sure.
And then Texas kind of became like the epicenter of like the real estate market, so it's blowing up. A lot of people got tired of living in California and New York and all of these big markets, and then Texas has like historically been pretty undervalued. So we got a lot of investors coming into the area. A lot of people since we're so close to the border, a lot of like Mexican investors, a lot of investors really from all over. And this has been a hot market, so we're welcoming them.
There's a lot of millennials complaining. They're like, I've done everything right. I've gone to school. I got my student loans. Mm-hmm. And I cannot afford a house right now because everything is so expensive. What is your opinion or thoughts about people in that situation? What should they hold out? Should they say, you know what, I'm going to buy a house right now? Or if you were in their shoes, what would you do?
Well, I mean, just get educated. You never know until you know, right? So, like, start the process, apply, see what can I afford, because sometimes they think that they can afford a house, but really you can't afford to rent forever, right? Because, I mean, you're just throwing your money away when you're renting. So a lot of times a mortgage payment is less than what a rent costs. So just get educated, know what do you have to do to get there, save up and stuff like that. Maybe you can't buy a house like tomorrow, but maybe next year you can. So it's important to talk to a realtor, talk to a lender, and just kind of see where you're at and where you need to be in order to afford a home.
I had a group of gamer buddies, right? Like they play like Fortnite. They're Fortnite champions and whatnot. These guys get together. It's like 22 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old. They own like 12 different properties.
Wow.
You know what they did? They became friends. And they said, hey, we have a problem. We don't have enough cash. We don't have enough credit. Let's get together. Let's build something.
Yeah.
Mad respect for that, man. It's interesting how people get to their success.
And a lot of these millennials are getting creative. Like maybe by yourself you can, but you get some partners together, some friends,
exactly,
and
man,
you got to get creative with it. I mean, the traditional way of buying a house, Yeah, it works for some people, but for some people it doesn't. So like, you see people coming together, finding more alternative ways of purchasing properties nowadays.
Oh yeah, man. There's so much
Yeah,
stuff
I
out
mean,
there.
that's why I admire like Omar so much, because ever since like he's been selling his feet pics, man,
Feet pics.
he's been looking at some big
I heard that's a thing.
You know what, man? Ef'n knows that I have beautiful feet, but contrary to popular belief, I don't have an OnlyFans for that. But I am starting an OnlyFans for mukbanging. Are you familiar with mukbanging?
I'm not familiar.
Apparently, like,
And we're moving on.
No, I'm kind of interested though. What is maybe I shouldn't ask.
No. Hey, at the end of the day, though, man, if I could get paid to have people listen to the sound of my voice and watch me eat, I'm down.
You have a great voice, by the way.
You know what? I've been told that as divorce papers get finalized, but I'm sure I've also had some good moments with that.
So Omar might be looking at a house, right? So if he's if he's looking for a house, what is the idea like down payment? Is it like 10% down, 20% down?
So it really depends.
I like that, man. You answer that call, bro. I know it's a business call. You close that deal. I got no problems with the grind.
We're gonna see
this live in action
right now, right?
Let's get a zoom in of that.
The down payment. What should be?
Yeah, what should that be?
Like someone.
So there's a ton of different types of loans. Popular to contrary belief, you don't need like 20% down. There's FHA loans that you can come in with 3.5% down. So like on a $200,000 home, that's only $7,000. You can do 5% conventional, 10%, 20%. So it just kind of depends on what you can afford. But the FHA loans are real popular, 3.5% down. You could even use that like on a fourplex or something like that. So you can start investing like right off the bat.
And there's a bunch of programs too, right? Like there's stuff for like heroes and teachers, like Tree Shack and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Like that works different. And then there's like stuff for the vets too, right? Like they got I do my research. Ef'n doesn't think I do.
Well, the FHA loans, those are like federal loans, right?
For first-time home buyers.
First-time home buyers, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And what's this? Because you have all these guys trying to make cash online, talking about buy my book, buy my system, buy my this, and they talk about like I heard one guy and he's
Omar Rodriguez.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. As Ef'n's known me my whole life. How many times do I invent Enron each year?
Each year.
Yeah. But they're great ideas. There's just certain circumventing laws and stuff, that prevent people from going through that. Anyway, but for real, you look at these options, man. So much stuff out there. What do you see is really the biggest obstacle for people to overcome?
I mean, it's just the basics, getting your credit score up, saving up enough for like down payment and closing costs, having a stable source of income, pretty much the basics.
And what are some red flags? Because with the real estate market being so hot right now, there's also a huge potential for like seller and buyer fraud.
Right.
To happen. So what are like some red flags you look for where you're like, whoa, this isn't a...
being in the industry, you see all kinds of stuff, but like just red flags off the top of my mind, like people that don't want to close like at a title company, they're like, oh, close with my notary or something like that.
Oh, no.
My attorney and stuff like that. Or,
it's because we're the culture that gets dentistry work done in parking lots. You understand this, right, Esteban? I know you're from California, but here it's like, no, hombre, pues it's $20, bro.
Tengo un compadre.
Tengo un compadre, me saca el diente, bro, una muela.
Tiene licencia en Reynosa.
It's a dog groomer's license, but it's a license nonetheless, right?
You see all kinds of stuff. So like people are like, rent to own and stuff like that. It's like red flag. There's a lot of stuff out there, but just do the research. Find reputable sources. Talk to a reputable realtors or lenders or title companies. Have a good real estate attorney that you can call up. And stuff like that. So make sure you don't go in there kind of blind or something, or just go based off of what somebody else says. Do the research.
Well, the biggest thing, title company, right? You have, it's just like prudent practice to close like at a title company.
Without question.
Definitely, because you want to make sure you get a clean and clear title. You don't want to buy something that has liens on it, or the person selling it to you is not really the owner, or stuff like that. So a title company will do the research. They'll make sure that they deliver you the title insurance and that it's clean and clear. And even if you close a title with a title company, there is room for error. Sometimes title companies make mistakes too, but you have that title insurance, so you can go back and say, hey, there was this error that was done, and they can fix it for you.
Yeah.
And we have a question. I mean, we drive around like all over the county and stuff, and we'll stop like at a red light. We'll look to our right, and we'll see like this small like little sign that says "We buy houses. Call us at this number."
Right.
Blah 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 blah. What has been your experience with those type of like buyers?
And before you answer that, do you think that his tone influenced your decision on the comments you're about to make? But continue.
So basically, in my opinion, I think those are like investors, like cash buyers, that they want to pick up properties on the cheap, so they're gonna like lowball or something like that. If you don't want to put your property on the market and you don't want people showing, so it might be a good option for some people that just want a quick sale and stuff like that. But if you want the most money that you can get for your property, the best bet would be put it on the market and get maximum exposure instead of the first guy that's going to try to throw some money at you.
What are some of the things you want people to know if they're trying to get into real estate that they should stay away from, or things like you're saying, like the whole like notary thing? I can only imagine. And I saw Ef'n's face cringe in 4 different ways when you said that.
Oh yeah, I got clients coming to me all of the time. They're like, "This is a legal binding document because it's notarized." Just like, well, it's
it's notarized.
It's notarized, all right, but it doesn't mean it means what it says.
I'm supposed to get salchichas and chicharrones every Thursday. That's what this says. Why am I not receiving my chicharrones?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody could draft up a contract, and any notary can stamp it. So, but you want to make sure it's you're protected.
It's got the legal weight on it.
And you know what, Omar? Me and you, we've known each other for a very long time, and
for sure,
we're cheap people. I mean, we don't
frugal.
We don't like frugal. We don't like spending money.
You didn't like the word cheap.
So,
I like. You know what? My ex-wife says I'm an asshole. I say I'm assertive. It's word choice, my friend. It's word choice.
But you do meet like some people who are like, you know what? I want to sell my house myself.
Yeah,
I don't need a real estate agent. They're gonna take like X percentage, like from from
some people say that.
my sale.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, let me ask you a question. There's a lot of people that, you're an attorney. There's a lot of people say I could represent myself in court, and I don't need an attorney. And anybody could represent themselves in court.
That's true.
But realtors, that's what we do for a living. We went to, we took all these courses and we took all these hours of, education and stuff like that. We do it day in and day out. So do you want to try to navigate the waters yourself, or do you want a professional that's going to like look out for your best interest and kind of guide you every step of the way that's familiar with the process?
The comedian in me is thinking of 4 different scenarios to take that conversation, but I'm going to let it float. No, I'm just saying, I agree with you. I think you should get, in having been that person who's tried to sell my own house, and in having been that person who's tried to defend myself in court, as Ef'n knows, I think it's one of those things that, there's some things like changing your oil. Like I think every man should change his oil at one time, at least one time.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true that Omar did represent himself in court.
I'd like to hear that story. Maybe not now, but
we're not going to go there because there's like a disclaimer involved in that, and
yeah. We have to run it by legal before we.
I think legal just chimed in and said, "Shush, shush." You're crazy, man.
What has been the most like interesting piece of property that you think you've sold that you're like, whoa?
And by interesting, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Like problematic, interesting, or like, or like you got the client the first day and it's like, oh, it's sold. That's interesting. Like how?
Like interesting in Esteban's opinion.
Esteban's opinion. What is interesting to you, Esteban?
There's some that I probably shouldn't talk about here. Legal might chime in.
No, they want you to comment. They want you to comment.
We work with several high-profile people in the community, and sometimes they wish to remain anonymous. So interestingly, lately I've been selling a lot of like hospitality properties and like hotels, and that's really interesting because it's different. It was different for me, and like some cultural differences and everything like that. And just the way that you look at those type of investments and you underwrite them, and the financial side of it and the cultural side of it, those have been like super interesting. Land development deals are always like interesting. Like you have a piece of land and what's the highest and best use of it. So like we're working with developers and just kind of figuring out like how you plot it out and everything, and working with like the different municipalities and everything. So every deal is kind of interesting, and you kind of learn from a little something different from every deal. But yeah, the commercial side of thing, that's kind of like But I like to look at the numbers and the figures and all that stuff. And it's like just putting different pieces of the puzzle together, sometimes like that. And you just gotta put everything together, and that's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Have you ever had to sell like any type of like historical buildings?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, what
For
type?
real? What'd you sell, man?
Like what type of like red flags like are there? Because I've heard there are certain restrictions of like when you buy like a historical building.
For real?
And it's registered, and it could be like a nightmare like sometimes.
Yeah. A couple years back, we did in Brownsville the historical Coca-Cola building in downtown Brownsville, and that was built like in 1905. So that was pretty cool. But just going through the city and everything like that, you want to keep like certain things the same and all of that.
Yeah, like you can't touch like certain things. Like you're like, I want to knock it down and build like a 3-story building. They're like, no, it's historical. Can't touch it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Like one of the what are they called? I think they're mangrove trees. Like one of the biggest problems on the island is that these are like an endangered tree, and like you're like, why is this property so cheap? And like, well, you can't cut those trees. Like, what do you mean? I just bought 8 acres of mangrove. Yes, you can't touch them. Like it's like wow.
And
got to do your due diligence before you buy.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's the real thing.
speaking of due diligence, Esteban, there was a recent case a few years ago. Guy buys a house, right? And then he finds out that the house, in his opinion, is haunted. And it's been known like to be haunted, right? He's like, everyone knows it's haunted. I want my money back. He then goes out and he gets appraisals, and his house is actually worth more because it's haunted. Because there's people out there that are like, I want that, that house. What's the term for those properties? I think they're distressed properties or something like that. There's like a special name.
Can't think of it right now.
We'll look it up. But have you ever had like anyone call you saying, I'm looking for like a
Haunted.
like a haunted property, or seen like any properties in our area that are known for that just go for?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Not that I've done, but I've been on the opposite end of that. I remember one time I had some clients that were like, one of them was a police officer, and every single time we would look at a house, he would be like, "Has anybody died in this house? Is this house haunted?" And I'd be like, "I'm not sure, but I can ask." And and then we'd look at another one, and the same thing. Hey, has anybody died here? And was anybody murdered here? I'm like, I'm not sure. And so I told him, why do you ask? And he's like, well, I'm scared of ghosts or whatever. And I'm like, well, I'll ask. So I thought that was interesting. And then I was representing a builder, and coincidentally, like the subdivision was next to a cemetery.
Oh wow!
So some people would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, I love the house, but there's a cemetery next door, and I'm scared of ghosts and stuff like that." So the builder would ask me for feedback, and I'd be like, "Well, they like the house, but they said it was too close to the cemetery." And they were scared of dead people, and he just laughed like, I'm more scared of living people than dead people.
That's true. That's true. No, but I feel like where that officer's like coming from, because when me and my wife went looking for houses, that was like probably like my 20th like question like in line. It's like, is it haunted?
You scared of ghosts?
Yeah. Is there any ghosts?
Yeah.
But real estate agents have that like duty to basically tell their clients, right?
The truth, yeah.
If like someone died in it or something like that. I don't think regarding ghosts, but if someone died,
Ghost
I think
clause.
And it just depends on how they died. I think like if they're murdered and stuff like that. There's certain types of the way that they died that you have to disclose.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's right.
People die in houses all the time.
Yeah, that's one of the craziest things, right? Like when you buy a house and it's like 100 years old.
I mean, if you think about it, though, 100% of those are going to die.
Yeah.
So it's not that far off, Like at the end of the day, like, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere along the line. We got to die somewhere, bro.
I'm fine with like ghosts if they pay rent. I mean, if they help with rent, that's perfect.
Like if they let you like get like a YouTube channel going and you can make the profit, then it's like, oh, dude, I'm down. You want to throw shit? Go for it.
Do you guys ever hear like houses like in your house, like when it starts making noises and creaking?
The creaks.
Is that
I've lived at a haunted estate.
Oh yeah.
Like where like nah, bro, shit moved in front of you. Like that's something else.
But you want to know something? Like before I became a lawyer, I would hear that those creaks and those studs, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's a ghost. Now, like as a lawyer, like I just think, man, it was a bad contractor.
Houses move, you know.
That's real. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Hey, so for you, wait a minute, bro. So for you, the opening cabinets and like the drawers popping out, that's just bad contracting. So for you, you got to see the flying knife. Then it's like, no, that's a ghost.
It's like, nah, they hired some subcontractor for $100 to put in the cabinet.
That's why it slides open.
Yeah, that's why it slides open.
When the train passes.
Now, a long time ago, Esteban, Omar brought up, and this was the first time I ever heard of it, cryptocurrency, right? And I told him like 10 years ago, I'm like, that's stupid, right? and I've eaten my words because it's like blown up. And you're doing some pretty cool stuff with like real estate and cryptocurrency, right?
What are you doing, Esteban?
So actually, we just brought this like amazing presentation yesterday to the McAllen Association of Realtors, and throughout the country and even throughout the world, like you know how crypto like all of a sudden boomed and it's kind of gone back down a little bit, but a lot of people made a lot of money with it, and now real estate's kind of hot, so they're kind of selling their crypto and they're selling their crypto and they're buying real estate with it. But not only that, like now people are putting like properties in the blockchain, like as NFTs and stuff like that, and registering them in the blockchain and then selling them.
Key Esteban on point with effective
real estate.
Effective real estate, yeah. Give them a call.
Here on the Ef'n Sunny Show today.
Thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you, Esteban. Thank you.